you have any top tips about how to either set up a culture for feedback or how to give good feedback? Because I don't think many people are particularly good at it.
So I'm kind of the opinion that one of the things that gets in the way of people giving good feedback is their emotional state that people kind of work themselves up into before they give the feedback, particularly if it's critical feedback.
Okay.
So I think one of the things that happens is, and I hear this pattern a lot in kind of coaching and in some of the work I do, is people say, well, I've got to give this person some feedback on this. And I've been thinking about it now for, so by the time they're talking to me about it, they've maybe already been thinking about the feedback they've got to give for a week or so. That by the time they actually have the conversation, they've rehearsed it, they've run through it, they've kind of, got themselves all concerned about what it might be like, and there's kind of an emotional tension. They wake up that day thinking, I'm going to have that conversation today, and I think everything about that kind of, we're really good at picking up on kind of the emotional states in other people, and I think a lot of that brings a kind of tension and awkwardness to the conversation. And I think that's a natural human, kind of reaction and response to get yourself into that kind of state. So one of the biggest things I'm always saying is give the feedback as soon as you can. Say what you see without judgment, straightforwardly and in the moment.
Yes.
And actually, it's amazing how that lands so much better than. I always say, if you imagine you were on the other end, imagine if it was somebody that, if you were the person who, your line manager was thinking, I need to give you feedback. Imagine how you would feel if you knew that for 2 weeks your manager had been going home at night and talking it through with their partner and wondering how to give you that feedback, and that it had taken them 2 weeks, and then they call you in and then they have the conversation. You'd be going, no, please just say it to me. I'd much rather just know straight away at the time it happens.
Yes.
All of that kind of exacerbates it, but we have this sort of social awkwardness about having those more kind of authentic, open conversations straight away when stuff happens. I think catch it in the moment, be clear, be non-judgmental, say what you see without judgment, and move on. I think it's, and seek it back. I think that's the other thing as well. So
that's interesting, isn't it? Because that goes back to the piece you were talking about, vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I can hear in what you're saying that it's much easier to give high quality feedback if you're willing to be vulnerable as well. If you're putting on this veneer of perfection, then it becomes, it's impossible almost for it not to become critical. Yeah. Whereas if it's about, we're all vulnerable, here's something I noticed that maybe of use to you is very different.
Yeah. And so different to that, and this is the other thing I see that some people do is that, in my 2 weeks of preparing to have this difficult conversation, I've made quite a lot of notes, and, so the person sits down and has the conversation, and there's the other person across the desk, and they've got their pen and their pad, and they're reading their notes, and they're looking at you as they're giving their feedback. There's not much in that interaction, which is about actually I'm connecting with you human to human.
Yes.
I'm sharing with you. I'm sharing with you my experience of what I've just noticed in your behaviour, and I'm also then asking you, and I think this is another important part actually, is so that having given that feedback, particularly in a leader position, if we look at it from that angle, is how can I support you in being able to do this differently, or what do you need from me to be able to kind of, develop that, change that, or...
Yeah. Interesting that you said behaviour there as well, rather than who you are.
Yeah, and this is the say what you see. Yes, not you're this. Yeah.